Hey friends, Pastor Nicole here. Welcome to our midweek moment, filming to you from my car. I'm in mom mode right now, waiting to pick up my kids, and I thought, you know what? I have a minute. It's quiet. There's no one here to interrupt me. I am just gonna go ahead and film this now while it's quiet. So welcome to my car. Glad that you are here. This week we continued on in our sermon series, The Mandela Effect, Searching for Scriptural Truth, where we have been taking a look at those phrases that we often think are in the Bible, but maybe we've misremembered. So this past weekend we talked about the phrase, God helps those who help themselves, and we learned that it's actually not in Scripture at all, and what God tells us is kind of the opposite of that. So if you didn't get a chance to listen to the message, I invite you to do so. You can find that on Facebook or on YouTube. During these midweek moments, during this sermon series, we are taking a look at those Bible stories that maybe we misremember little details about. So we're going to take a look at one such Bible story today from one of my favorite parts of Scripture, which is the Christmas story. I mean, you guys know how much I love Christmas, right? So we're talking about it even though it's June and even though it's warm outside. So in the Christmas story, we often talk about how the shepherds came and visited baby Jesus, and then the Magi or the wise men came with their 3 gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And here's where we get to the misremembering. The Magi actually didn't visit Jesus when he was born. If we read the Scripture, it says that they visited the child Jesus. And if you look at the Greek, the word for child is actually the word that would have been used for a little kiddo that was a little bit older, maybe 2 to 3 years old. We also know that when Herod had all the babies killed, he killed all the 3-year-olds and under. So we know that it has been a span of time. It's not right on the day of Jesus's birth. So we're talking about little kiddo Jesus, and he's living in Bethlehem with Mary and Joseph. They're living as a family together, and the Magi arrive. Now, how many Magi were there? Now, if you look at any nativity scene, we know the answer, right? 3 Magi. Of course it was 3. But was it? We always have 3 Magi because of the 3 gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. But Scripture doesn't actually tell us how many Magi or wise men visited Jesus. Could have been 2, could have been 12. We don't know. Might have been a whole caravan of people, so it might have included the Magi and their spouses and their children. We're just not sure. So it's kind of interesting to think about. Jesus wasn't a baby when the Magi came to visit. When I was younger and I learned this, I would have my Magi on the opposite end of the living room from my nativity, and every day they would kind of inch a little closer because they weren't there when Jesus was born. Now, one of the cool things about this series is that it's encouraging us to get into Scripture, to really read it for ourselves, to not take what we learned as kids or take what culture tells us, all those nativity sets tell us, but to really search the Scripture itself. And so I invite you to take some time this week to read through the story of the Magi. You'll find it in Matthew chapter 2. And read it for yourself and see what you might glean from the Scripture yourself. But I hope you just had a little bit of interest maybe in learning about the Magi. I do love that part of the story. One of the things I will tell you is that, after the Magi left, an angel came to Joseph and told them that they needed to leave because Herod was going to have all the children killed. So they fled to Egypt, Mary, Joseph, and baby Jesus. And while I was in Cairo, I learned a lot about what the Egyptians hold as tradition of what Jesus did as a child and his family did when they fled to Egypt. And one of the churches that we visited down there had these beautiful mosaics, and one of the mosaics was of Mary and Joseph giving the child Jesus a bath. And my favorite part about it is that Joseph is lowering a bucket into a well, and there's an angel at the bottom of the well helping him to get water. I just thought it was so intriguing. So I will put that picture in the comments of this video and you can check it out. But just a little fun side note, not much to do with the Magi really, but does have to do with the child Jesus. So I hope you all have a great rest of your week. I hope you will take some time to search the scriptures for truth yourself this week, whether it be reading the story of the Magi or maybe something else entirely. But get into scripture, read it for yourself, and see what you might glean, see what scriptural truth you might find this week. And we'll see y'all soon. Bye.